Hi KavMan's. Thank you so much for being patient with me while I got this video to you. I would like to wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff before we start. So here we go, right? This is it, coming up to birthday season for you. So this is your tarot scope, your personal reading for the month of April 2019. So before we start, as always, I would like to bless both of them, or all of my decks of cards, with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's see what the month of April has in store for you, right? So let's have a look at your actions and your interactions with the world at large. What is taking place for you during this month? And this month you get the Magician, right? Oh, all right, so this is what you're working with. This is about you standing in your power. It's about you finding the energy, and it's ultimately about you stepping into a space of pure manifestation. The Magician card is all about your communication with the world at large. It's about seeing you reach a pinnacle or a peak experience. And we're not just talking about a moment of happiness, we're talking about a moment of recognition out there in the world. This is going to be a really pivotal month for you, not just because you're going to be seen to be not even the authority. You will be seen to be a master at what you do. This is about you rising up through the ranks, and it's about you standing in your power and ultimately seeing people seeing you stand in your power. The beauty of this card is it's not just about seeing you as a pinnacle or a beacon in your chosen field. It actually sees you discovering truly in your heart of hearts, in your depth of soul, what it is that you truly are here to do, what your purpose really is, and where you go from here. This is going to be a really powerful time for you. The whole month of April is going to be a process of you really figuring out, okay, what has worked up until now, what hasn't worked up until now, and how do I weigh up the statistics? This is about you looking at the facts and the figures. It's about you getting stuff down on paper. It's about you finding your unique voice. It's about you listening to that deep voice within and saying to yourself, which is the most powerful? And I saw this on a film, and I used to love this film when I was little, and the High Wizard says to all of the apprentices, and he holds up his hand, which one of these fingers holds all of the power of the universe? And the guy that was going to get it right hesitated before he picked a finger, and he ended up getting it wrong. And the High Wizard says to him, what finger were you going to say as the answer originally? And he was going to say, my own, right? And I got goosebumps as I say that for you, because I'm envisioning you standing in your power and truly radiating so much presence. You already do, but not like you're about to. You are literally about to be plugged into the mains of life. You are about to connect with the universe on an unprecedented scale. And like I said, you are just going to have this innate knowing. So this is about the month where you come into your own power. It's about the month where people see that happen, and where effectively people say, wow, okay, there's something that has changed about you. There is some kind of, and look at this as well. The funny thing is, you got this card in the Taurus reading as well for April, which shows me that there is something truly spectacular going on for you in this month. This is about you coming into that understanding that all the power in the universe that you could ever seek, desire, need, want is in your own finger. It's in your own power. It's in your own sphere of existence. And when you tap into that this month, you're gonna shine so bright. Now, here's the really amazing thing about this. This is your actions and your interactions with the world at large. This is what you do. It's how you do it. It's how people see you. It's how people receive you in the world. And this is really, truly a moment where you step into all that you can be, and you are seen to be exactly that. What a powerful way to start the month. All right, so your money and your materials. Let's have a look at this. All right, so your money and materials, you get the Six of Swords. So this is about you walking away from effectively, well, it's not even walking away. This is about your finances actually settling down after a period of kind of where you're looking at things and you're like, okay, how do I generate more of this? How do I create more of this? The Six of Swords sees you walking away from obligations and responsibilities that are no longer yours. This is about you really stepping up and saying to yourself, right, it's now time to start diverting all of my finances, all of my money towards myself. It's now, you know, and this isn't about being self-centered. It's not about being greedy. It's not about any of that. This is about you laying the foundations for your personal prosperity, for your personal abundance, so that you can, you know, the thing is, once you fill your own cup, it's so much easier to fill everybody else's, right? But you've got to start there. And this month, it's really like you're aligning your finances and saying to yourself, you know what, I've given to everyone and anyone that I come across that I believe needed it or that I had it to share with. This is now about you balancing that scale. This is about you saying to yourself, right, in order to bless people the way that I want to, I'm going to need to bless myself first. This is about bringing it all back to you. It's about finding this ability within you to generate anything that you want, anything that you choose. And I kind of feel, and I'm going to call you out on this, you know I love you big time, but I'm going to call you out on this. I kind of feel like for the most part you coast with this because it's quite easy for you to do, and then when things get a little bit tight you're like, okay, now I'll dip into the energy and start manifesting more of it. This is about consistency when it comes to your money and your materials and your finances. This is about consistency with, for, and of self, so that you can generate the kind of finances, money, prosperity, abundance that you need in order to continue to bless people the way that you would like to. This is about bringing it back to yourself. And also, this is the end of a very large cycle. So over the last 6 months, you probably will have experienced some highs and lows when it comes to finances. And the feeling that I get from this is that's now going to regulate. You're moving away from the jagged sort of experience of it, and you're stepping firmly right into this abundance source energy. You have the ability there to create anything that you want. So the money and material sector isn't just, and this is the thing, I can expand on these things like I can't when I'm doing the monthly readings, but this is a personal one, so I can expand on this in a really big way for you. Your money and materials isn't just about your finances and your money. It's about your home. It's about your physical body and your health. So in terms of your home, the Six of Swords is basically saying you are on the move. Within the next 6 months, you yourself will find yourself moving. And I believe that the place that you move to next will be one that you are at for quite some time to come. Now, your money and materials as well, in terms of how it's generated, because you've got the Six of Swords right next to the Magician card, this is about some way that you help people. This is about the words that you use. It's about the sense of community that you create, and it's about assisting people finding the alignment that they need in order to accept responsibility for the situations that they find themselves in. This is a big money spinner for you. So this idea, this project that you've had, that you've been working on, that you've been working towards, this month is the culmination point where it can actually start to make you some money, where it can start to be lucrative for you. Now, before we even go any further, I can literally hear you saying, oh, you know, but I'm not doing it about the money, I'm not doing it. Scrap that. You have to be compensated equally for the amount of energy, time, passion, study that has gone into your work, into gaining these skills that are going to make rapid transformations for the people that you're working with. That's what you need to put a value on. So this isn't about getting rich quick from other people's misfortune. This is about you making money, making enough to sustain yourself and a surplus from offering a product or a service that is of true quality and produces amazing results for people. You need to find a space within you now where you can own that so that you can step forward with it. So in terms of your home, where you're moving next, I don't have a specific place, but I can tell you, I'll definitely look into it for you, but I can definitely tell you within the next 6 months from here on in, you will have moved, and that will be a solid move for you. It will be one that comes real good. Now, in terms of your health, this is interesting because it suggests that you, and I feel you, brother, I really feel you, have been going through the process of really processing and eliminating old patterns of thought, old patterns of speech, old bits of programming or code or conditioning from your personal history. And the fact that you've worked through this stuff, and I'm going to be honest, it looks like there have been some moments where you have literally been on the thought train and they have, excuse me, they've been looping into each other like consistently. The beauty of what you've been able to do is to move past it, to look at it, observe it, process it, and say, right, okay, now that I know that, now that I get that and understand it, I can truly move past it. That is a really beautiful and powerful place to be in. So your communications with the world at large, what you're saying, who you're saying it to, and how you're saying it, and all of that good stuff. So let's have a look. All right, you got the Empress. This is you, right? The Empress card represents the sign of Taurus. And this sees you standing in all of your power. It sees you communicating from a place that is truly authentic. It sees you speaking your message to people in a way that plants fertile seeds in fertile ground for everybody to enjoy. You discover your message this month, Cav. This is where you really come into your own and you really move towards this understanding of who you are, what it has all been about, why it has all happened the way that it has, and where it's all finally culminating to. I see you really connecting, possibly with an earth sign female. This person is a height of, you know, whatever they do, this person is at the height of their game. And the funny thing is, as I saw these two cards, I got a real big flash of a woman that I've been working with, and I've just got this sneaking suspicion that it might be her, because I feel like there's this energy circulating you where you're about to take this massive step forward, and at this moment in time you might not be able to envision it, but with these cards there is movement here, there is growth, there's abundance to be had, there is a wealth of knowledge and experience to be enjoyed, right? So the Empress card in your communications is really seeing you take your time, right? This isn't about, you know, there's nothing here that's fast. There's nothing here that's, yeah, let's do it. We'll click our fingers and it's all done. This is going to be a process of slow and steady creation, recreation, and building of self. And your message to people, the way that you communicate is going to slow down. And I don't mean like, oh, you know, communication's been slow between me and people. This is about you really being so rooted in yourself that you speak from a place where your words and even just the sound of your voice just seem to ring in people's beings. And they're like, where has this guy been all of my life? This is a really, really powerful month for you, and that Empress card in your communication sees you slowing down internally, and it sees you slowing down in terms of the way that you communicate, so that what comes through is so full of quality and refinement that people are just like absolutely blown away by you. So you're definitely communicating with possibly another Taurus this month. And in terms of the communication that comes through, you will be communicating with a lot of women this month. There'll be a lot of interaction between you and various different women, and a lot of them will be at different stages of what I feel is either just at the beginning of their, you know, I want to get pregnant, or just going into it, or, you know, they're already in that stage. But there's lots of communication coming from the feminine sphere for you this month, and it could very well see you having a very enjoyable month in that respect. So with that said, let's have a look at your heart and half sector. So this is about your personal relationships. All right, so the Five of Swords, right? So the interesting thing is the Five of Swords sees fraught communication. Now, as I'm feeling this, and again, you know me, I love you, I speak as I find, but I'm going to call you out here. You have deliberately shut yourself off in the heart space sector. You have deliberately shut yourself off and closed yourself off because there were a lot of things that you really needed to go over to process. You've done it, Cav. It's done. You don't need to go back there. You don't need to open any of that stuff up. you are what I would call an evolved man. You really are. Like the way that you act, the way that you behave, the way that you treat people is so far beyond what you know, our generations should, you know, what should be expected from our generations. And I hate that word, it's such a crap word. And, you know, expectation is, anyway, but you know, the Five of Swords is basically saying it's time now. It's time for you to stop running this idea of, I'll move towards a relationship, or I'll get with somebody when, you know, when this is right, or when I fix that within myself. You're already fixed, and this Five of Swords is asking you to stop telling yourself a really crap story. And if you see the way that the figure there has got his head in his hands, and on top of that he's got all of the swords going, you know, pointing in a pentagram down to his mind. This is about where you take the energy now. This is a powerful month for you. And the other thing I want to talk about, which I'll get to in just a second, this is a powerful month for you. And because you have these two mad powerful cards of manifestation, where your mind is this month is going to be very, very important. You've got to stay focused, and you need to be focused on the things that you want to build and the kind of relationships and people that you want and need and desire and actually fucking deserve in your life. So check this out. You got the Six of Swords here, and you got the Five of Swords here. Now, although they go in the opposite way, this is about a progression. When you see numbers running in sequence like that, it basically says to you that you are on a specific path. So what you need to look at here is how your finances and your monetary stuff is intertwined with your relationship stuff, is intertwined with some of this stuff that you might have been telling yourself in a previous script. Because when you figure that out, you will unlock a massive key. It's almost like you'll unlock a massive piece of the puzzle. And once you've got this piece of the puzzle, that's when you really start rocking with the wand. That's when you really start to realize that all the power that you could ever want or need is in this finger right here that belongs to you. Right, so I mean, I got goosebumps as I'm talking about this. I'm going to get to your months. Actually no, but let's do the months first, and then we'll pull extra cards for each sphere. So your first week of April, let's take a look what's going on. First week of April, you got the Tower card, right underneath the Magician. This is about realization. So when you see the Tower card, very often it can have a heavy meaning, and it cracks an illusion. It snaps that facade. It cracks the facade or the illusion that we're looking at, or that we've built ourselves up to believe, so that when it does and we see what's underneath it, we see the truth, we see the understanding. The Tower card isn't always about something coming to a close or a crash and end in our lives. Sometimes it's about a big, startling realization that really makes you go, whoa. Wake up, this is something that I needed to know. This is the final piece of the puzzle that I might have been missing. Absolutely. The Tower card is going to be about a big realization that comes for you, and this realization is going to open you up to all of your personal power, to all of your personal ability. This right in the first week of April. I mean, the universe is not playing around, and you know the beauty of it? It's all just going to be massive gifts, one after the other. I'm absolutely astounded. So the second week of April, you got the Empress, right? This is a double hit of this energy. But before we go into that, I want to have a look at this, right? So the Tower card with the Magician card is that piece of information, that final piece of the puzzle where everything clinks into place and you come into the realization of your truest personal power and what your true purpose actually is, what you are doing here, why you are here, why you've had the experiences that you've had, what that actually means, and how you can turn it into something else. All comes this month. Six of Swords, your money and materials, and the Tower card is basically saying to you that this month you will have a lot of realizations about where you've carried people when it comes to money, about what it is about your finances that keeps you, and I say this with all love and care, what it is that keeps you not being able to move forward in terms of your finances, or what keeps you not being able to consistently generate or hold on to the kind of nest egg that you would like to hold on to. It's all about realization. It's all about understanding and acceptance this month. Your communications with the Tower card, this is about a surprise meeting. There is a woman coming in here for you this month that is going to completely rock your world. You know, it could be personally, but it also could be professionally. She comes in and she completely changes your understanding of the dynamics of relationships and also communication. This is a chance. It's not just a chance meeting, it's a fated meeting. It's something that comes completely out of the blue. And then finally, you will see this month how your finances and your personal relationships are linked to each other. They are, you know, how the script that you're running about relationships, you know, men and women, people, all of that. It will have a really, it's almost like you'll see a connection between the two and you'll be like, yeah, shit, okay, I didn't even notice that before, but it will make total sense to you. Empress in the second week of April with the Magician card is basically saying, what do you want to create? What is it that you want to have in your life? What is it that's going to bring you joy? What is it that's going to bring you happiness? Where is it that you really want to go from here? Because the choice really is yours. It can be as big and as bold and as broad as you choose it to be. And it really is up to you. The Empress basically says whatever ideas or products or whatever it is that you come up with this month, they will grow, 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 grow. Right? It really is up to you how big you want to take it. Empress with your money house is basically saying to you, what is it that you need to move away from now? In fact, the Empress with the Six of Swords in your money house is asking you to become a gardener when it comes to your money, your materials, your home, even your physical health. You've got to become a gardener now. And one of the things about gardeners is they weed like crazy. They go through everything. Does that need to be here? Is it going to drain nutrients from everything else that I've got going on? Yes, probably. So they'll dig it up and they'll chuck it out. This is the process of you really getting to grips with your personal environment, the people that are in that environment and how they make you feel, and ultimately going through that process of really weeding out what or who no longer serves, what or who is just a drain on the resources especially. So the Empress with the Empress in your communications, I mean, this is you standing in all of your glory, but it's also you connecting with people in communication, where communication is easy and it's free and it makes you happy, and people are literally, I can't stop saying it, they are astounded by the stuff that comes out of your mouth. I'm not, because I've never met you. I've spoken to you a few times on Skype, but everything about you, everything about your energy is of the highest caliber. And this month people get to see what I've always seen, right? So my hat off to you, brother, seriously. Fantastic. The Empress with the Five of Swords in your personal romances and stuff is basically saying this month, especially in the second week of April, this will be where you really start to get clear on cultivating the mental space. And it's not just about the mental space, it's about the heart space. This is about you saying to yourself, actually, you know what? I have so much to offer. And actually, in a way, it's kind of selfish for you to hold that back, because there's a lady out there that you could make really happy. So, you know, just to give you the little play devil's advocate there for a moment. So in that respect, and it is also about you really weeding it out, you know, with your finances and your emotions sector. I really feel that there is a link there somewhere that you're going to discover this month that will make so much sense to you. Once you do that, you will be ready. You will be ready to welcome somebody else in. You know, like I said, whether she's for personal or for professional, there is definitely a woman coming in this month that is going to change everything for you in some way, shape or form. And it won't just be one-sided. You will change a lot for her as well. There's definitely a process of reciprocation here as well. So your third week of April, you got the Fool card. All right, so the Tower and the Fool, in their purest form, both represent Uranus, which has just moved into Taurus, will be there for 7 years, right? There are no coincidences here, as we've seen, right? So the Fool card is new places, new things, new people, new experiences, but it's also fated moments of realization, fated events that come, like the Tower, only the Tower's bringing you realization. The Fool is bringing you things that are unexpected and cannot be, because they're predestined in some way, right? And you know me, I'm very, very wary about using those words, because I believe we co-create our destinies, and I believe that it's fate and free will, not fate versus free will. However, there are specific moments where fate takes over and says, this is what I'm giving you. How you get to that moment and where you go from it is completely up to you. So the Fool card with the Magician, this is really coming into your power and really recognizing that you can start again, that you can completely start over. And I believe this will come the 3rd week of the month, especially as I see it with that as well. This will be where you decide where it is that you want to live next. The opportunity is going to arise for you. You're not going to have to seek it out. I kind of feel like it could be something really insignificant, like you sit and you watch a film, or you see something on the subway and then it starts you thinking, and then all of a sudden you've got a plan to move 3 states away because you're going to do X, Y, and Z. It really can happen that suddenly with the Fool card. You know, it's just that moment. And with the Magician card, it's basically saying you get to now rewrite, reset, and reprogram your life, and you get to rebuild it in any way you should so choose. You have complete free reign from, you know, where you go from there. So the Fool card with your money and materials, with the 6 of Swords there, as I'm looking at that, it really is about where you end up next. It's like I'm hearing the words, I'm so ready. Like, I'm just ready to be on, I'm ready to move on. In terms of health, this is going to be a month as well, especially the 3rd week of April. You will get a real sense of what it is that you need to do physically for your physical health to give you back more vitality. I feel like you get so much more energy this month, and it could have a lot to do with the fact that the sun will move into Taurus at the end of April, right? But that's definitely something to consider. You will have a lot more energy, a lot more vibrancy around the 3rd week of April, which is when the sun moves into Taurus. The Fool card with the Empress. I mean, the Fool card is the egg, right? It's actually the womb, because it represents 0, which is, you know, it's all things. It is 0 is where all things can flow out from. All the number vibrations come from 0. All things that we see around us come from an egg. Everything is born in some way, shape, or form. And that's what the Fool represents. It's pure potential, which is why it's the most powerful card in the deck, because it's unbridled power. The Empress is about giving birth to something. If she gives birth to the Fool, she's giving birth to pure potential, giving birth to pure power. This basically says to me, in terms of what you're communicating to people and how you're speaking to people, in terms of what your message is, this could be the sort of, especially in the 3rd week of April, this could be where you're talking to somebody and then suddenly they say, right, okay, you know what, I want to work with you and I want you to write all the content for my blog, or I want you to do this, or, you know, whatever conversations you have will have further reach and ripples than you will be able to anticipate at this moment in time. The Fool card with the 5 of Swords, you're ready. You're so ready for someone new to come in. You are ready to stop telling yourself whatever story you've told yourself in terms of relationships. And actually the 3rd week of April sees you really opening up and being ready to do so. I really like that for you, because I feel like there is someone coming in this month, you know, and even if it's somebody that you already know, this will be the month where it starts to pull it, you know, to knit itself together and become something real or tangible. So your 4th week of April, you've got the Moon card. So this is glancing over. Now, usually I would say this is glancing over the past, but I don't feel like it's that. I feel like this card in general is just saying to you, look how far you've come. Look how far you have traveled. Look how far you have evolved. Look at where you are now compared to where you have been, compared to all of the things that you've experienced. The Magician card and the Moon card is asking you, where have you felt powerless? Where is it that you feel like you just didn't have a say? Where is it that you felt like you never had any power to make any decision or to rewrite anything? Because this month you get given all of that back, and you get given it with interest that it's gained over the years, right? So you're really looking at this, and like I said, you will be looking not just at the communication dynamics between people, but the power dynamics between people as well. Now this is a little bit more interesting and possibly a little bit more tricky, because the moon card can see you treading old ground, but it can also be rose tinted glasses coming off. This is about possibly somebody trying to guilt trip you, and I just want you to be aware of that, especially in this 4th week of April. With this 6 of Swords, you've got to be very, very clear on the fact that you are moving forward and that you are rewriting this stuff, yeah, because you just don't need it. And with the moon card, it just feels like somebody might try to pull you back in to an old habit or an old way of doing things, or possibly even a guilt trip. You don't need that. You can just done it, right? Done it and left it be. Your communications with the moon card, so in this 4th week, yeah, I mean, the fact that you got the Empress twice and the fact that you've got the moon and the Empress, this is about water and earth. This is about fertile energy. The 4th week of April will see you literally manifesting as you speak. So be very, very conscious of what it is that you're thinking about, what it is that you're saying. And because with the Fool card, actually, it sees a lot of fun and a lot of humour. The 4th week of April, probably not the week to say. Be mindful of what you say in jest. And the reason I say that is because, as I say, you know, it's almost like you're manifesting as you speak this week of the month. So if you say something, you know, negative towards yourself in jest, the chances are you might bring that into actuality. Use that in a much more conscious way to create more of what you do want instead of what you don't. 5 of Swords with the moon card, and as I'm looking at this is really the last week of it, right? So this whole month has this thread of you really figuring out, what is it that I've been telling myself that is a lie? What is it that I've been telling myself that just doesn't have any weight anymore? And the moon card will see you literally connecting with that, and almost, maybe it's a past life session, it could be that as well, and that's not necessarily with me, that's just in general. It could be you going back to a specific moment in your personal history and saying, that's what it is, it's that moment and I need to rewrite that. And you will do it this month, you know, there'll be no toing and froing about that, so to speak. So let's have a look at your key to the month. What is going on? What is the overarching or overriding theme or message that's coming through for you? What? The 6 of Wands. Personal victory, personal success, personal realization, coming home to yourself, coming back into yourself, realigning with who you truly are, what you're here for, what you are meant to do in this life. This is, you know, the 6 of Wands isn't just about victory and success. It's a procession. Once something has ended, you know, once an old paradigm, maybe an old era, an old sense of self has ended, it's that moment where you come home and you say, yeah, you know what? I fucking made it. No matter what happened, no matter what I had to traverse, no matter how difficult it was, I fucking made it. I'm here, right? Excuse the potty mouth, but I'm really, really feeling this for you. And your key to the month is basically saying, you stay forward, you stay on that sense of progression, you keep plodding in that forward direction towards what it is that you're working on, and your success is absolutely guaranteed. It truly, truly is. I love that for you, because the way that it touches everything, it's almost just like, yeah, and then boom, you got that final blessing, which is absolutely stunning. So things that I want to take an extra look at are your money and materials. What can we glean from this? King of Pentacles. So really this is about you now finally saying to yourself, right, I've got to build something solid, concrete, something that is for self, something that is for me and for me only. And the King of Pentacles says that actually this month you can generate quite a lot of money, and going forward you will continue to do so. The King of Pentacles is about you, and it's also about achievement, success and accomplishment, right? You've got a double hit of that energy, because then you've got the Six of Wands there as well. So your Temperance, I love this for you. Right, because the Temperance card with that Five of Swords is basically saying not only will you discover the meaning and the reasons behind what you've experienced in relationships, but also you will rewrite them, you will transmute them into gold. This may very well be a big part of, you know, this piece of the puzzle that comes in for you. And that Temperance card sees you finding or coming to some sort of inner balance or inner equilibrium and some sense of peace. This is about you really rewriting that last piece of history and gaining so much inner peace and clarity from it, that you will just feel calm, collected and totally ready for the next step. So I also want to take a look at your Tower card. All right, so the Page of Wands, it looks like there's some kind of spontaneous travel coming in this month, probably in the first week of April. I have to tell you, you will be traveling what is, I mean, I say long distance, but you know, I live on an island that's 900 miles tip to tip. I think you could fit the UK in just New York. So you know, it's all relative. It needs to be relative. So to tell you, but there's travel coming in this first week of April, and it will see you needing to go quickly. You won't have it's not so much you won't have a choice, you always have a choice, but it will be more a case of it will just be sprung on you, so you'll be like, oh shit, okay, I've got to get going. So just keep that in mind. Also, carry a pen and paper with you for the whole month of April, but especially this first week of April, because I feel like a lot of these realizations, or even have, you know, voice note it on your phone, you know, type notes on your phone or your two-way, whatever you've got. Be ready for a lot of spiritual downloads throughout the month of April, and make sure you've got a pen and paper handy throughout the entire month, because there's going to be ideas, and you know, there's going to be deeply creative ideas and lots of things that it's almost like I see you just consistently writing and really getting a good understanding or foundation of things. The Knight of Swords over that Moon card really basically suggests if you have a specific experience in looking at the past, you cannot unpack there. You've got to literally go in as it arises. Even if you're at work and you know, you're like, oh shit, I can't believe this is coming up now. Take yourself off to the toilet and just sit for 5 minutes in silence on the bowl. Fuck it, if somebody says, oh, you know, you've been in there a long time, whatever, that's not important. What is important is the second this stuff comes up and starts to try to give you the mind babble and all of the rest of it, that moment, that specific moment is where it's going to require you to rewrite it. And I feel like this is going to be about, you remember what I said here about somebody trying to bring you into a possible guilt trip. This isn't going to come from you, it's going to come from external, but what it creates in you will be something that you need to rewrite as it's coming up. Like literally as it comes up, you got to go straight in. You remember what I said about the gardening? With that gardening claw, boom, rip it up, rip it out and chuck it. That is not me. I got goosebumps up the side of my head now. That's not me. Chuck it, right? And you'll know the second it comes up, because you'll be like, whoa, this isn't me. This doesn't belong to me anymore. That's not mine. And then finally, let's have a look at what the universe is sharing with you of your victory and your success. All right, so you got the Seven of Swords. This really, I mean, you know, this is quite an intense card, actually, the Seven of Swords. And what it feels like is saying to me is there are going to be people, Six of Swords comes up again. Look at that, and just progression. So you've got 1, 2, 3. 3 sixes come up. 6 is the number of responsibility, it's the number of family, it's the number of the home and the hearth, it's the number of creating an environment that is warm and comfy and cozy in order for us to thrive. This is about you taking responsibility for that for yourself now. And that's not to say that you haven't up until now. What it's saying is that place, that environment that you're in now, it needs to evolve. So over the next 6 to 7 months, that will be changing for you. And it looks like there's going to be a shift in your social circle as well. It looks like there's going to be some moments or people that you just kind of pluck out and say, yep. And there'll be others that you literally just rip out and say no. This is an absolutely fantastic month for you. It's all about growth. It's all about change. It's all about personal power. It's all about being recognized for the truly wonderful and awesome being that you absolutely are. This is a really, really dynamic month. I mean, we've seen this in the Taurus video, but seeing this now for you, it all just brings it totally home, and it makes me think like, wow, okay, I can't wait to see what you come up with, and I can't wait to see what you create. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have an amazing, amazing, amazing month. If it is this month, it doesn't say on your FB, but a happy birthday to you. I send you so many blessings. The world and all of the people that know you are truly blessed to have you in their lives, and I count myself as one of those people. Take care of yourself. I will speak to you soon, and thank you again.